Off Season is a pretty sweet film. This was released originally in 2001. It was directed by Bruce Davison and written by Gers, and this stars Rory Culkin as Jackson. And Jackson is a little boy who is living with his aunt because his parents are deceased, and things are not exactly financially stable for them. His aunt works at a bar in exchange for a free room, and while they are at this resort and his aunt is working, Jackson meets a man, and he's convinced that this man is Santa Claus. And to begin with, the man is denying that he is not Santa Claus, but then he realizes that actually maybe he could help the little boy and say that he is Santa Claus. Whether or not he is actually Santa Claus, I'm not going to say, but certainly it's a really interesting story about Jackson's relationship with this man and the lessons that this man, this Santa Claus character, can teach him. And the main theme of the film is taking what you've been given and making the best out of it. And I think that a lot of the characters can really benefit from that message. There are some things in the film I didn't care for. There are some aspects of the narrative I wasn't that bothered about. Nothing specifically that I didn't like. It's just that my interest kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit. Whenever Jackson and the old man were the centre of the story, I really liked them. I thought that that was really fascinating and something that worked really well. And I found that to be particularly interesting. The old man is actually a character called Sam Clausner, played by Hume Cronyn, and his interactions with Jackson I thought were great, and Jackson was a really interesting character with a great performance from Rory Culkin, and definitely a very complex character who I found to be really interesting. So the characters there were great. The rest of the characters were absolutely fine, but nobody else stood out to me as being particularly interesting. Whenever the narrative focused away from Jackson and Santa or Sam, again, as I said, it's not that it was bad, I just wasn't that bothered. So sometimes I really enjoyed it, sometimes it was just a bit average. But either way, I do recommend it. It is also technically a Christmas film because even though it takes place not at Christmas, this hotel decides to have Christmas, and there's definitely enough festivities in it to make it seem like a Christmas film. So it's pretty good. It's definitely a nice character study of Jackson and his situation and how this young boy is responding to being cared for by his mother and seeing Santa Claus and the messages that this man can bring to him and the hope and joy and magic that it can potentially restore. I quite liked it. Definitely a decent film. Not one I'd watch too many times. I might watch it again at some point. I'm not in a hurry to do so, but I think I wouldn't mind watching it again eventually. And if you haven't seen it and it sounds like your kind of thing, then I'd say Off Season is worth checking out.